And we are live. Hi, everybody. Hi, welcome. Welcome to another session on stop anxiety, panic attacks, depression, and any kind of low feeling emotions that are dragging you down, weighing you down. This is a live workshops where I'm taking questions and we'll be answering any questions you may have regarding this topic. Who am I and why am I doing this? My name is 𝗦𝘁𝗲𝗽 𝗕𝗹𝘂𝗲𝗽. I'm also known as the mindset medium. I'm a success mindset coach for ambitious women who want to be emotionally fit and mentally strong to create the life, career, and business they love. And I'm also an ex-sufferer of anxiety, panic attacks, and depression. I used to suffer myself many years ago now. It's more than 15 years ago now, for several years. And it was a really, really tough ride. It took me several years to figure out what was happening and to find a way out. Antidepressants didn't do the trick. They didn't make me happy. They didn't give me the kind of life I knew inside within me that I wanted to be living. I knew I had the potential to live, but yet I found myself day in and day out being stuck in what felt like a rut and a really deep, dark place. I didn't know how to get out. Luckily, I believed that there must be another way. So I kept searching for the right answers, and I was guided to some incredible people in the medical field who have introduced me to new ways of thinking and who have essentially introduced me to what I'm going to talk to you about. I have freed myself emotionally more than 15 years ago. And not only that, I have achieved ultimate emotional freedom. That's the kind of place I'm hoping for you to gain by developing certain tools, strategies, which I started applying in my own life. And I noticed very quickly what helped. And applying these tools, strategies, and developing a routine around them has freed me emotionally. And that was a period of my time in my early 20s where I became hungry for wanting to do this work. So the reason why I'm doing the work that I'm doing today, the reason why I'm coaching people, the reason why I'm so passionate about seeing you guys thrive, seeing you leaving all your emotional suffering behind, all your fears, all your worry, all your doubt, and stepping into your true power so that you can start creating the lives, careers, and businesses that you know that you are capable of. That's the reason why I'm so passionate doing the work today, because I have been there, and that place of darkness and me finding a way out has instilled somehow a deep passion within me for wanting to do this work with you. And that's also the reason why I'm here today. That's the reason why I'm running these workshops. That's the reason why I'm giving you the opportunity to ask questions. You see, I'm a member of various groups online where people allegedly do suffer from anxiety, panic attacks, depression. And most of these groups, what I find, lack of somebody taking charge and saying, hey, you guys, I know how it feels, but it's not going to change unless you change things. And these are the things you can apply in your own life so that you can start experiencing changes today in this very moment. That's the reason why I have developed a program based on my own experiences, which I know are proven, but not only help myself to free myself emotionally, but also I've applied with many other people. I've worked in this field already, and I know that they work. It's a program based on research, based on tools and strategies that work. That program is called the 3-Step Blueprint to Stop Anxiety and Panic Attacks. And the first person of you, the first one of you to email me to say, hey, Sonja, I'm having a tough time right now. I've been suffering in this way, but more importantly, this is the reason why I want to leave all this behind. Give me the reasons why you want to free yourself emotionally, what it is that makes you feel ready right now. The first person to email me will win my 3-Step Blueprint to Stop Anxiety and Panic Attacks. And you can email me, the email address appearing on the screen right now, Sonja@𝗕𝗿𝘂𝗲𝗽coaching.com. So again, the first person to email me this his or her statement why you are ready to free yourself once and for all and reach emotional freedom, ultimate emotional freedom, to my email address, you will win my free step blueprint to stop anxiety and panic attacks. And by the way, you can find out more on my free step blueprint in case you wonder what it is and how it looks and what it contains under stopanxietyblueprint.com. Just a brief overview for you. The Stop Anxiety Blueprint, based on which I'm holding these workshops, contains of different modules and gives you a lot of benefits as well, and contains workshops, online workshops. But the best place to find out all about it, and including my own story where I tell you how I suffered and what the many coincidences that led me to freeing myself emotionally in my journey. You will find all that on that page, stopanxietyblueprint.com. But this workshop today, as all the other workshops we conduct on a Tuesday evening, so thank you everybody for joining in. Just pop in and say hello where you are joining us from. We are streaming this live on the various social platforms. So welcome everybody. Again, these workshops is for you, although I will be giving you tools and strategies I'm talking about in my free step blueprint, which will absolutely free yourself from emotional suffering when you apply them consistently in your own life in the very moment, but also longer term will build you up in terms of confidence, in terms of self-belief, self-worth, self-esteem, to really create the kind of life, career, and business that you know you want, that you are hoping, wishing for at the moment, but that absolutely can be a reality for yourself. So pop in the comments where you are joining in from, and feel free to ask anything relating to the topic. That's why I'm holding these workshops. But before I start talking about the free steps, the free patterns that have the potential to change it all for you, and how you can apply them in your own life, and how you can take your power back in any minute of any day and ultimately free yourself, I really want to also talk about a few other things which are connected to anxiety, panic attacks, and depression, which I myself, when I was suffering, didn't pay so much attention to, because at that time there wasn't really much research available. But over the course of the past few years, research has proven that our nutrition, our food, our diet have an impact on how we feel emotionally, and depending on our genetic makeup, some of us are more susceptible to certain foods, to certain nutrients, to certain elements we all have within our biochemicals, set up, depending on what kind of foods we take in and what kind of environment we expose ourselves to. But in case you haven't heard of somebody by the name of Anthony William, you have to check him out. Anthony William is also known as the medical medium. Yes, that's right. Anthony is the medical medium who is healing millions of people worldwide in relation not only to anxiety, panic attacks, depression, but any other kind of chronic illnesses. And has healed many people worldwide, especially where the regular traditional medicine is failing people because there are simply no answers available. That's where Anthony Williams stepped in, medical medium. That's right, he's the medical medium. I am the mindset medium, because I'm looking at it from a perspective of how you can take your power back by changing your mindset. And we'll be dedicating the entire session to this topic, but I feel I need to also share that important element of the nutrition with you, right? So please do check out Anthony William. You will do yourself a favor, not only in relation to your anxiety, panic attacks, depression, or your tendency to stress, worry, fear, but in relation to any other kind of illnesses in your life which you have been carrying around that don't have necessarily answers to. And you can also obviously empower the people in your circles, your friends and family who are struggling in this way. Anthony William is a little bit unusual, depending on your belief system, because he claims the reason why he has access to the information where the regular medicine fails, or regular science and research fails, is because he has a connection to what he calls the spirit of compassion, which he had since age 4. So obviously not everybody is inclined to believing in a higher power, a higher force, call it what you will, but he's very open about it. The truth of the fact, or the truth of the matter, is that his information is healing lives, millions of lives. He's also the man behind the celery choose movement. Again, if you haven't heard of Anthony William, you have to check him out. Check his Instagram account out, and you will see all the thousands of testimonials with different people who are being healed every day. So that's Anthony William. And the other thing I also wanted to mention to you, that if you are suffering emotionally, and if you're new to these workshops, and if you have already developed physical symptoms which are a direct response to your any kind of emotional suffering, if we tend not to listen because it's too difficult or too painful to investigate or to go there to ask certain questions, if we suffer emotionally, and by the way, I know that emotional suffering doesn't really resonate, the term itself, with high achievers, right? Because high achievers tend to say, I don't suffer, but I'm stressed. Well, let me tell you one thing. If you are stressed, if you are worried, if you are anxious, if you are fearful, then you are suffering emotionally. So for the purposes of this workshop, I'm calling it emotional suffering. So if you are suffering emotionally and you are not giving it the attention that that chronic state of yours requires, then your body is going to respond to it in terms of physical symptoms. So if you have developed physical symptoms, I know in my case I used to feel nauseous a lot of the time. I had a certain kind of pressure around my heart area. I felt it really difficult to breathe. I felt dizzy. Obviously, I had also what comes with anxiety, panic attacks, sweaty palms, and I used to sweat a lot. So some of these things have given me really, were frightful. So I made sure that I went to see my doctor who referred me to several specialists. For instance, I went to see, specialists for the heart and an EEG, electrocardiogram, EKG. So make sure that you get your physical clearance, right? Physical, that you are okay physically. So your physical fitness clearance, so to speak. Because you really want to make sure that you are not ignoring your physical symptoms. And once you have your all clear from your GP in terms of you are physically fit, hopefully they will start also addressing the issue for you in terms of anxiety and depression you may be experiencing. But once you know that you are healthy, you can then absolutely start focusing on your mindset. And that's exactly what we are talking about here today, right? Here today. But you don't want to start focusing on your mindset, not knowing that there may be a physical health condition in the background which you're not addressing. So that's the point here. If you're new, make sure you'll get your health check. Okay? Who is with me on this? Just give me a yes in the comments. Give me a yes in the comments if you are with me on this. Yeah. Thanks everybody for agreeing. Great. So as we do every Tuesday, this is an open space for you. So feel free to ask me anything in the questions. And I will, just in case you haven't emailed me yet, or you have missed that chance to win my 3-step blueprint to stop anxiety and panic attacks, you can email me to this email address, Sonja@𝗦𝘁𝗲𝗽-coaching.com. The first one to email me to say, Sonja, this is how I'm suffering, and this is why and how I'm committed to free myself. The first person to email me will win my 3-step blueprint to stop anxiety and panic attacks, which is a powerful, proven program I have developed. And you can check all out. You can check it all out, including my story on stopanxietyblueprint.com. So whoever the first person is to email me will win my proven 3-step blueprint to stop anxiety and panic attacks. Again, based on which we are conducting these workshops. I'm giving you tools, strategies, techniques, how you can free yourself from any kind of emotional suffering right now, i.e. in any moment, how you can take your power back. How you can take your power back in any moment. And if you consistently apply these 3 steps we'll be talking about, you can quite literally create an unstoppable level of confidence, self-belief, self-esteem within yourself, which will help you to step into your true power, confidence, to create exactly the kind of life, career, and business that you want and imagine for yourself. So that's what we are talking about. So we're not only talking about necessarily about anxiety, panic attacks, and depression. We are talking about so much more here. And again, I'm giving you the space to ask me any kind of questions in relation to how can I free myself from emotional suffering? How can I free myself from anything that is holding me back from truly feeling that I'm alive, from feeling that I am able to create the kind of level confidence in my life that I need to create that life that I know is out there for me. Okay? So step number 1 or pattern number 1, I'm talking about in my 3-step blueprint is our physiology. Our physiology, meaning what we do with our body. We all have patterns. That's why I call it the patterns. We all have patterns. How we use our body day in and day out. We all have patterns how we breathe, how we use our gestures. We all have patterns how we use our facial expressions and how we breathe. And all this is called our physiology. Now, if I were to ask you, can you describe to me how a depressed person uses her or his body? I'm sure you know the answers. You would say something along the lines, well, they are looking down most of the time and their shoulders are down as if the entire weight of the world was sitting on their shoulders. And they are breathing really shallow and they're speaking really slowly. And their tone of voice is really soft and quiet. And they are just taking their time speaking. So how do you know how a depressed person uses their body? Because you have been there yourself, you're practicing it, right? Or probably you know somebody who has. So you recognize that the way you use your physiology has an impact on your body, absolutely. Now, in this pandemic, in this day and age where most of us are working from home a lot of the time, and we are looking down on our desks, or we're staring into the screen and we're tired, we're slumped over our desks, we don't take the time to go for a walk, all this is going to have an impact on our mental well-being. So my question to you is, just think about how many times in the day do you consciously stop and change your physiology? How many times do you consciously stop? Now, you see, when I say you can free yourself from anxiety, panic attacks, and depression within seconds even, by changing your physiology, it has to be a radical shift in your physiology. So you really have to change something radically. You have to, even if you don't feel like it, even if you're utilizing your body like the depressed person does, you really have to change it radically. Get up and start singing at the top of your voice to your favorite song. Go out for a walk and breathe really deeply. Go out for a run. Do whatever it takes to change your physiology radically. think of something, think of a power move, a power gesture you could do where you really step into your true power, as if you were tearing the black curtain into shreds and you are stepping into the light, whatever it is for you. The reason why I'm so passionate about this is because it absolutely frees people. There was a research done by, you may have heard of 𝗦𝘁𝗲𝗽 𝗦𝘁𝗲𝗽, Harvard professor who is really interested in human psychology and how our postures and our physiology has an impact on our well-being. And in 2012, she gave a famous TED talk. It was all about power posing, and she asked the audience to stand up for 2 minutes and apply the postures of Superman or Wonder Woman in the audience for 2 minutes only. So how does Superman or Wonder Woman stand? They stand really tall with their chest sticking out. First of all, their feet firmly rooted into the ground, so firmly 2 or 3 feet apart, as if they were drilled into the ground, right? They are standing tall with their heads up, looking into the sky, breathing really deeply with the fists next to the pressing against the hips, really taking up a lot of space and breathing really deeply. 2 minutes only, and it was an incredible response by the audience, because she did ask them before they did it to think of something, a situation where they had problems resolving it, where they didn't feel confident. And after 2 minutes, everybody felt more confident. So what happens within the short space of 2 minutes? Research has shown that by 2 minutes applying power poses, 2 minutes only, your biochemistry changes. Your biochemistry changes, your cortisol levels, the major stress hormone, 2 minutes only drops by more than 35%. Your adrenaline, the hormone which makes you feel more alive in terms of wanting to make things happen, shoots up by 30%. You're more prone to take risks and more prone to try out new things. Your oxytocin and your endorphins, the good feeling hormones, shoot up. They make you feel good. So our biochemistry changes. And if our biochemistry changes, it has an impact on how we feel. So that is the power of 2 minutes power posing. Now imagine every single time when you feel anything other than great, confident, courageous, outrageous, applying the 2 minute power poses, if you developed a habit around it, how would your life change if you recognized and reminded yourself in every moment when you are feeling depressed, low, anxious, stressed, worried, that you have to change your physiology radically or apply one of those power poses? And you wouldn't essentially give yourself a chance to stay in that state for longer than a couple of minutes, and I'll immediately take your power back. How would your life shift? How would your life change? Would it be an incredible difference, right? It would be an incredible difference to your life. Absolutely. Absolutely. That is the power of physiology. Now, you see, research has proven that exercise is so incredibly important in our lives. Not 2 minutes exercise, a little bit longer than that, 30 minutes only, 30 minutes of aerobic exercise. Aerobic really meaning that you are increasing your heart rate and you breathe faster, you change your breath again. For instance, running or fast walking or swimming or cycling or jumping on a trampoline, wherever it is for you, 30 minutes of aerobic exercise has the potential to shift or increase your focus for more than 2 hours. Makes you think clearer, makes you feel more decisive, makes you feel more focused. 30 minutes of exercise alone. And if you develop a routine around exercising, 3 or 4 times of exercise, aerobic exercise for 30 minutes a week, if you develop a routine around it, i.e. if you do it for at least a month, research has shown you will want to keep doing it. You will want to keep exercising because your body, so to speak, gets used to the kick. If you think about it, it's a good way of an addiction. It's not an addiction, obviously, you could stop anytime, but research has proven that people who exercise in this way for 1 month or a little bit more do find themselves to return to exercising even after periods of inactivity, for instance, after birth giving or after accidents. So people come back to exercising, and research has also shown that when we hit then old age, that lifetime of regular exercising has an incredibly powerful impact on our brain. You see, there are two main parts in our brain, the prefrontal cortex and the hippocampus, which are very susceptible to neurodegenerative diseases, i.e. in the older age, those are the parts which are affected, for instance, by illnesses like Alzheimer's or dementia. Now, when you have a lifetime of exercise routine in place, research has shown that your brain, even if your genetic makeup is conditioned for you to get Alzheimer's, for instance, even if you have the tendency to become ill in this way, your brain is protected, i.e. it will not stop it from happening, but it will become more resilient. It will become more strong, i.e. it will push that illness out of range. And it may be that you never get it. So there is a link between exercise and our brain and our health, and the research has proven it. There's so much research, and more research is coming to light on this. So if you haven't already, if you don't have a daily exercise routine in place, I do encourage you to think about it. You know for yourself that when you change your state, even if you don't feel like exercising, but you make yourself, afterwards you feel good, right? It's about training your brain to take your power back in the moments when you don't feel like changing your physiology radically, right? And that exercise routine is more of a protection for yourself longer term. It's an incredible, powerful habit you can develop. You can make it part of your routine, which will keep you mentally and emotionally strong, which will keep you emotionally free. Changing your physiology radically can absolutely free you from any kind of suffering in the moment. So I hope I was able to bring that across sufficiently. How do you use your body? Not only your body, remember your body, there are so many elements to your body. Your breath, an incredible part of your body. Also, how to use your face. There are more than 80 muscles in your face. Do you smile more often than not? Or do you frown more often than not? You see, regarding your facial expression and your gestures, so important, so important. There was another study conducted by University of California in Berkeley, where we've taken a group of manic depressive patients, i.e. they are the sort of people who really need antidepressants to be able to control their emotions. And they've taken a group of manic depressive patients and started experimenting with them how a change in physiology would impact their state. Now, there was a very simple research over 30 days where all the patients were asked to look into the mirror, look themselves in the eye, so to speak, and whether they felt like it or not, to smile ear to ear for 20 minutes. So most of them started by feeling depressed and really low, but they made themselves smile ear to ear, 20 minutes. And as the days went by, people started feeling better. Their body started responding. The brain was almost going like, She's smiling. There must be a reason. What's the reason? I don't know what the reason is, but she's smiling. She must be happy, or he must be happy, and started feeling as a result, or the brain started sending good feeling hormones into your system, again changed the biochemistry, which made them feel good. Soon, very soon into the study, people wanted to, or were already looking forward to doing this daily practice, this daily ritual, which has quickly become a ritual for themselves, because they knew that it was a way for themselves to take the power back, something they haven't been shown before. They just knew that they had to be taking antidepressants not to feel too bad, right? And it was incredible. By the time they reached the end of the month, all of the patients freed themselves of antidepressants. I mean, that's an incredible achievement, considering that these people were for the best parts of their life on antidepressants because they didn't know what impact a change in physiology would have on how they feel. That's why this kind of information is so incredibly powerful. And if we apply it correctly in our lives, it has absolutely the potential to free ourselves from any kind of emotional suffering and go on to create the lives we want to be living. So incredibly powerful. So I've given you here a few tools and strategies you can immediately apply in your life, immediately, to take your power back. If you feel anxious, if you feel depressed, if you feel stressful, worried, you know what to do. I've given you a few tools and strategies, so please do use them. Please do apply them, because, you know, most people know what to do, but they don't do it. They don't do what they know. Don't be one of them. I'm giving you research-proven tools and strategies which work. Be one of the few people who knows what to do and does do what they know. That will be your thanks for me sharing this information to me, if you apply what you're learning today. So step number one, pattern number one, we spoke about the physiology, how we can take our power back by changing our body, our breath, our life force breath, the way we breathe, our gestures, our physiology. Let's move on to pattern number two, step number two. And feel free, again, just a reminder, feel free to ask me anything relating to the topic in the comment box. This is an open space I'm providing you to ask me anything. Remember, I've been there. I know how you are feeling. I've freed myself. I've put all my learning and knowledge into a program which is helping people. It's undoubtedly helping people every day. I'm coming on here to coach you through your challenges life. Okay? So do take me up on my offer. And also hit the share button so that you can spread the message and empower as many people as you can in your own network. Mind UK has researched that in England alone, there are 6 out of 10 people suffering emotionally, and more than half of them are not talking about it because they're ashamed of judgment. So if you share this video with your network, this live stream or this recording, once this live stream is finished with your network, you don't know who you will be helping out. So if you want to help these people in the same way I want to help you, please do hit the share button. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now let's move on to step number two, pattern number two. So we spoke about the physiology, and pattern number two is our focus. Our focus. How do we utilize the power of our mindset? You see, and I know this for myself, when I used to suffer, I used to wake up in the morning, and the moment I woke up, it felt like I was trained, I was conditioned to immediately think of my state, immediately think of I wonder when the next panic attack is coming to get me today. The moment I started feeling along these lines, I got physical symptoms. I started feeling the pressure around my heart. My hands became instantaneously sweaty. And the more I felt these physical symptoms, the more I was dreading the hell of the day. And these are the words I used to also use when describing it to other people or going to my doctor to look for help yet again. That the moment I remember what I told her, the moment I wake up, the hell starts. So when we feel low, stressed, anxious, and have a tendency to focus negatively, and we have essentially conditioned ourselves, we are focusing in a way which is disempowering us. We are focusing in a way which is absolutely not empowering us, and our body responds to it, right? So my question to you is, what do you focus on most of the time? Now, a lot of our thoughts are unconscious, and you may not be consciously aware of the things you're telling yourself all the time. But remember, we have more than 85,000 thoughts a day, a lot of which are unconscious, as I say. But the way you feel gives you an indication of the kind of thoughts you are having. So if you are feeling most of the time low, if you are feeling stressed, anxious, worried, fearful, unwell, that gives you an indication of the kind of thoughts you have had or you are having in the day. Okay? So if you're feeling in this way, you need to train yourself to spot check your thoughts and focus on the things that are working out for you. Because things are always working out for us. Life is always working out for us, not to us. If you develop belief around this, if you start really believing that whatever challenges you are experiencing, they are there to make you stronger. They are there to guide you to a place you wouldn't have discovered otherwise. They are there to teach you how you can become a much better, powerful, confident, impactful person. So your focus, what you believe to be true for yourself, so your focus on your beliefs. We all have patterns around them. Successful people who are emotionally free and fulfilled have trained, quite literally trained, conditioned themselves to think empowering thoughts, to start the day by focusing on everything they're grateful for. To start the day on focusing on everything they're looking forward to in the day. To start the day by focusing on everything they have achieved and are proud of. To start the day and be grateful for even what appears to be a challenge right now, because they recognize that it will lead them to a better place. And be thankful for the capability of being able to figure out the solution to a challenge. Because problems or challenges, like I call them, they come into our life because we absolutely have the potential and the ability to solve them. Otherwise, they wouldn't come to our life. That's my belief anyway. But if you approach it from this perspective, you start looking at challenges from a completely different way, from a different perspective. So my question to you is, what do you focus on more on life? Do you focus on the things that you can control, or do you focus more on the things that you cannot control and give your power back ultimately, completely? Do you focus on the things that you right now and you are creating for yourself, or do you focus on the things that didn't work out in the past? Where do you live emotionally? Do you live in the present, or do you live in the past? Do you focus on the things that aren't working out for you, or do you focus on the things that are working out for you and trying to build on them? Are you making plans into the future? Are you making plans that excite you, or are you dwelling on the things that didn't work out in the past? So that's all about the focus. Now, You choose, right? You cannot focus on being grateful and happy and fulfilled and being angry, stressed, and anxious at the same time. You cannot be happy and angry or sad simultaneously. You choose. And the way you choose is in the way you focus, in the way you utilize your mindset, in the way you ask, what kind of questions you ask yourself. If you think about it, our thought process is essentially about asking ourselves questions all day long, right? We don't only ask questions to the people around us, we ask. Our internal dialogue essentially is a question and answer process. The moment you wake up in the morning, I wonder what kind of day it's going to be. What shall I wear today? What shall I have for breakfast? What time do I need to be there? What time does this meeting start? How should I answer this email? In what kind of way should I approach that person? It's all happening really fast, but we are essentially thinking by asking ourselves and answering questions. And it's all about how do we take our power back? How do we create an empowering focus? We create it by asking better quality questions. Right? Better quality questions. If you ask good questions, you are capable of coming up with great answers. If you ask lousy questions, you come up with lousy answers, right? Why am I such a loser? And your brain will find the answer to any kind of questions you ask. Well, why am I such a loser? Why am I always depressed? Because you're not worthy. Because you've always been a loser. Because you are too fat. Whatever it comes with, right? Why don't you ask a different questions, a more empowering question instead? How can I make today a good day? Oh, well, you could call the person you've been putting off and make progress in that area. Whatever it is, there is always a way how you can ask yourself a question in a more empowering way. It's about training yourself, conditioning yourself to ask strong, empowering questions, right? Many women on this call will probably resonate. We tend to have a tendency of being too hard on ourselves for too long, and the imposter syndrome. We are not good enough. What are other people going to think? Are they going to judge me? It's about training ourselves to ask ourselves better questions. Well, instead of what are other people going to think, you may ask yourself the question of, what can I do to make this entire process for me more enjoyable, knowing that I'm doing my best? And your brain will come up with an answer. Okay? It may take it initially a little bit longer to respond than it does to the crap questions you ask yourself, because you have trained it for such a long time, but it will absolutely give you the answers you are looking for. So your focus, what you focus on, what you believe to be true for yourself, has an impact on how you feel in any moment. If you combine that with changing your physiology state, changing your state, my God, you are on a great trajectory to success. Changing any of these 3 patterns I'm talking about, by the way, has the absolute power to shift you out of any kind of negative emotion into feeling strong, confident, empowered, optimistic, hopeful, enthusiastic, joyous, loving, But if you combine them all, then you quite literally become unstoppable. If you have any questions regarding anything I'm talking about, as I say, feel free to pop them into the comment box. This is an open space and live Q&A. And I really want to give you the space and to ask you anything relating to the topic. That's why I'm doing this workshop for you. Okay, so we spoke about our physiology as a pattern, step number 1. We also spoke about our focus, how important our focus and our belief is, and what kind of impact it has on our body. Before I move on to the third step, the third pattern, I also want to mention and briefly also a piece of research that well, it's not quite it's not really research, but it's something very observable. Okay, now think of the London Olympics, the last London Olympics, and I don't know whether you had a chance to watch it, but the reporters went around the athletes, and the reporters were really nervous for the athletes, right? And they asked the athletes the question, oh my God, you must be really nervous performing in front of your home crowd. And every single athlete responded in the same way. It was quite hilarious to watch. They all said, no, I'm not nervous, I'm excited. No, I'm not nervous, I'm excited. So whereas the reporter would have felt nervous, the athletes felt excited. Now, let me ask you a question. How do you feel? What happens when you are nervous, when you're starting to feel nervous? We've got sweaty palms, right? We've got increased breath speed, our heart rate increases, we've got a funny stomach, right? What happens if you are excited? Your palms get sweaty, your breath speed increases, you've got a funny sensation in your stomach, butterflies, your heart rate increases, right? So your physical symptoms between nervousness and excitement, they are the same. They're the same. What you experience in terms of how you feel depends on what you focus on. That's right. It depends on whether you focus on feeling excited or you focus on feeling nervous. Whether you believe you are excited or you believe you are nervous. That is how you will feel, and that is what you will experience. Although the physical symptoms are the same. Now, the athletes have conditioned themselves to interpret these emotions, these feelings, as excitement, which put them into a state of readiness, a state of, competitive advantage, in a state of wanting to win, in a state of I'm ready, in an empowering state. As opposed to the reporters, they were nervous, which would have meant they wouldn't have had a chance, right? They felt nervous, they have shut down internally, they were afraid, right? So your focus has an incredible impact on the things you're willing to do, has an incredible impact on how you feel, and as a result, the kind of things you're willing to do and how you show up and how other people respond to you. So that's why your mindset, what you focus on, what you are willing to consider to be true for yourself, what you believe, is so incredibly powerful. Now imagine you combine it with a radical shift of physiology, how unstoppable you can become. There's a third element to all this, and I've already touched on it, and it's the words, the language that we use and the meaning we assign to those words and the language. As with the example of nervousness and excitement, right? That's the pattern number 3. We all use certain words, and all words have an emotional charge to them, and we all assign different meaning to certain words. But let me give you an example. If I were to say to you, I don't quite believe what you're telling me. You are telling me porkies. As opposed to if I were to say to you, I don't think you have all the facts right. You should better go and double check your information. As opposed to, you are a liar. Now, I know that you have felt the difference in all 3 versions. Essentially, I've told you the same thing, right? I've told you the same thing. I've told you the same thing by expressing in 3 different ways, but all 3 different ways had a different emotional charge, and you could feel it, right? So our words, the words that we use not only in relation to other people when we speak to others, but also when we speak to ourselves, when we have this internal dialogue going on for us, which happens a lot, right? We have an internal dialogue going on for us a lot. So we're speaking to ourselves a lot in the day. And many of us use words that are completely disempowering. Many of us, especially those people, especially those of us who are suffering emotionally. I see people every day who are really hard on themselves. Those people who are suffering emotionally, who suffer from anxiety, panic attacks, and depression, the lower feelings, emotions on the emotional reference guide, on the reference scale. And even the people who are stressed out, worried, they are really hard on themselves in how they call themselves, in the words that they use to describe themselves. They wouldn't probably use these words speaking to other people, right? Because sometimes the worst words said to us, or the worst things said to us, are by us. Remember, words have an emotional charge. And whatever you say to yourself is going to have an impact on how you feel. So if you recognize that you aren't feeling great, spot check, what is the thing I've been thinking about? What are the words I have used? And also be mindful when speaking to other people. How are your words going to have an impact on others, right? What is the meaning you are assigning to those words? What is the meaning other people may be assigning to your words? What is the meaning you're assigning to other people saying something to yourself, right? Remember also here, you never know what other people are going through right now. So they may have a really tough time. They may be one of those 6 out of 10 people who are suffering emotionally, and you don't know that they are, and something is going on for them, and them not using necessarily the most appropriate word doesn't mean that they mean to hurt you. Sometimes we are taking things really personally by people who made a fleeting comment without any justification, really. So just be mindful. You never know what's going on in other people's lives. Don't take things too seriously. Don't be too hard on yourself. And if you really feel like it was completely not fair what the other person said to you, if you are that strong and emotionally developed already, then go and ask, right? But it all starts with yourself. It all starts with yourself. The kind of words you use for yourself, within yourself. And also with other people. Okay? So it all starts with yourself. I hope you found this useful. There were the 3 steps, the 3 patterns, which I'm going into much more depth in my 3-step blueprint, the proven 3-step blueprint to stop anxiety and panic attacks, where I show you how you can free yourself emotionally without no doubt. Proven 3-step blueprint to stop anxiety, panic attacks, which has helped already so many people. But just to recap, so what are the 3 steps, the 3 patterns you can change, and which have absolutely the power and the potential to take you from a place of suffering to a place of absolute control in any moment. Applying any of these 3 patterns can shift you out of anxiety, depression, worry, fear, panic into an absolute state of control. Any of those 3 steps, if you apply them all together, if you train yourself to apply them all together and develop a routine around them, you will become unstoppable. Pattern number 1, just a recap, step number 1, the way you use your body. Apply a radical shift to your physiology. If you find yourself in an unresourceful state, a suffering state, how do you use your body? How do you breathe? What kind of gestures do you use? You can see I'm using my gestures quite a lot because that's a way for me to express my passion to you, and hopefully it's coming through, right? So how do you use your gestures? How do you use your facial expressions? There's so many elements to our body. How do you use your voice, right? So be mindful of that. Changing any of these radical shift, as we spoke about, has absolutely the potential to take you completely out of anxiety or any kind of negative emotion into feeling in control of your emotions. Absolutely. Step number 2, pattern number 2, what do you focus on? How do you use your mindset? What do you believe to be true for yourself? What kind of questions are you asking yourself every day? Are you asking yourself empowering questions? Or are you asking yourself disempowering questions? Remember, your brain gives you an answer to anything you ask, right? It's ask and you shall find, right? It gives you an answer to anything you ask. If you ask disempowering questions, it will give you a reason why you are not good enough. It will give you a reason why you are not worthy. It will give you a reason why you are a loser, why you aren't successful, why you are fat. Whatever it is you're asking yourself that is disempowering you, ask an empowering set of questions. How can I make my day more productive and have fun? How can I make my diet lasting and enjoy it? What can I do to be a better parent? How can I enjoy myself more when working on this project? Whatever it is, come up with a more empowering questions. Give your brain a chance to catch up from the shock of, transfer between disempowering and empowering. Give it a chance to catch up. But once you have a routine in place, asking yourself empowering questions, it will become faster in giving you the answers. So step number 2, focus. And what do you believe for yourself to be true? Do you always focus on the things that are working out for you? Or do you always focus on the things that aren't working out for you? Remember, I have a mantra which is essentially around life. Life is always happening for us, not to us. No matter what difficulties, challenges we might be going through right now, it's always happening for us. I know that you know what I'm talking about. I know that you've been through difficult, tough times in your life, whether it's recent or many years ago. And if you remember those times back, I know you wouldn't want to probably go through it again, and you wouldn't wish it upon anybody. But I know that you know that these times have made you the person who you are today. That particular difficult challenge led you to a certain circumstance, led you to an event, led you to a certain person you wouldn't have otherwise met. That event, that situation made you who you are today, that it empowered you in certain ways. Isn't that true? So life is always happening for us. It's not happening to us. And once you adjust your mindset, once you start thinking along those lines and you buy into it, so to speak, once you start believing that that's indeed the case and true for yourself, and you start focusing on what you're grateful for in your life rather than the things that aren't working out, that you aren't grateful for, everything will shift, right? But even in the moment, when you focus on being excited rather than nervous, everything will shift. If you have an onset of panic attacks, for instance, or you start feeling overwhelmed by the amount of work you have to do, or whatever is overwhelming you or stressing you out, and rather than interpreting those emotions as nervousness, overwhelm, and anxiety as excitement, and you telling yourself, I'm excited, remember your body responds to the words you use, which are emotionally charged. So be mindful of that, which leads me to step number 3, pattern number 3, the words that we use and the meaning we assign to things, right? Every word is emotionally charged. And we are talking to ourselves all day, every day by asking ourselves questions. That's essentially what the thinking process is, as I told you already about. So what kind of words are you using to describe yourself? If I were to ask you, complete the following sentence. I am, whatever comes to your mind first. I am. That might give you a good idea or an indication of who you believe you are, obviously, but that's an indication of what kind of identity you believe you have, what you believe to be true for yourself. So if you came up with answers such as, I am powerful, I am confident, I am unstoppable, I am a mother, a dedicated wife, a loving mother, whatever the positive, empowering answers were, great. But if you came up with answers, I am not worthy, I am I'm not good at what I do. I am fat. I am disgusting, which many people are telling themselves. Be mindful, because that is the identity you have developed for yourself. Or I am a smoker. You are not a smoker, but if you say I am a smoker, that is the identity you have developed for yourself, and you will find it incredibly hard to give up. So be mindful of the words you are attaching to your language. Well, be mindful of your words and the meanings you attach to those words. All words are emotionally charged. We can feel them when we speak to ourselves, and we share them when we speak to other people. And sometimes, as I said to you, sometimes the worst things said to us are by us. So there are the 3 patterns based on which my 3-step blueprint to stop anxiety and panic attacks is based on. I hope you found this session useful. If you happen to watch this on a replay, thank you for taking the time to listen. Make sure you share it with your network. People are looking for this information right now, and you never know who you will be helping out by sharing this. Thank you for joining in. Leave me some comments. Even if you are watching this in replay, I will get back to you if you have any questions. Alternatively, feel free to check out my 3-step blueprint, stopanxietyblueprint.com. You will find out everything about my story. You will learn more about the 3 steps, and you will learn also more about what the powerful program consists of, in case you are interested in going deeper and healing yourself, freeing yourself from any kind of emotional suffering for good. Thank you for joining me on this Tuesday evening, for taking your power back in this way. Thank you for showing up for yourself, and thank you for recognizing that nothing is going to change unless you change things. I've given you the tools, the strategies, the techniques. If you apply them into your life, things will change. If you develop powerful routines around them, you will become unstoppable, and your feeling of depression, anxiety, panic attacks, overwhelming stress, worry, stress, whatever it is, will feel like a distant memory. A memory that has led you to become who you are today, a much stronger, confident, resilient person who is ready to embark anything that is ready for you in this lifetime. You can absolutely create the life, career, and business you love. You can absolutely create an outstanding quality of life for yourself, outstanding quality of life for yourself. These are the steps, these are the basics, these are the fundamental basics you need in order to do just that. I leave you here. If you need more information, feel free to get in touch. You can contact me on Sonja at 𝐴PowerFree-coaching.com, Sonja at 𝐴PowerFree-coaching.com. I would love to hear about how you are getting on. I'd love to hear all about your successes, and I wish you all the best. Remember to live strong, to live with passion, and to step into your true power by utilizing the power of your mindset every day. Nothing is going to change unless you change things, but you can absolutely change things in your advantage to live exactly the kind of your life you want for yourself. Thanks for joining in, everybody. Have a great evening. Remember to live strong, live with passion, and go for it in life. Go for it in life. There is no rehearsal. This is it. Thanks for joining in. Bye for now.